this could all go horribly wrong at any minute.
And the rubber chicken says, you don't name a hurricane Henri. But what do I know? I'm just a rubber chicken. And you don't name a hurricane Bob. No, you don't. And we'll be talking about this and a lot of other things in this week's Rantcast number 54, Louis Black's Rantcast number 54, entitled, God Must Really Hate Haiti. We'll be getting to that in a minute because there's a lot going on here today. We've had a lot of news this morning. I guess it's been coming right at us. This Hurricane Henri. You don't name a Hurricane Henri, as my trusty partner said. That's ridiculous. Okay, what kind of a name is that for a potential hurricane? Maybe a tropical storm. Henri works for that. I get that, but you shouldn't be naming tropical storms anyway. What do you name every shower of something? No, you don't. Okay, but you don't name a hurricane. You might name a hurricane Hammer and Hank or Robespierre, Hurricane Desaad. But Henri, please, that name does not work. As Bob didn't work in an old bit that I did years ago that I'd love to repeat for you, but I don't have a memory now due to being really in lockdown or through this 500 days of whatever you want to, whatever it will be described as in history books, the pandemicitis, the pandemic followed by the pandemonium. Oh, man, and it is pandemonium. But boy, once getting hit by all of this shit, by everything that we've been going through, then all of a sudden a hurricane shows up. Are you kidding me? And boy, they couldn't have been peeing their pants more on TV about it right here in the city. Oh, it's gonna happen. Everybody's going to die. Oh, boy, you can't wait. Wait, here's them coming this way. No, it's coming that way. We got 62 models. 62 different models. If it goes this way, it could be an entire energy plant that explodes, okay? And that the nuclear energy can flood God damn it, okay? After all this shit, can you just calm the fuck down, all right? You name the areas in which people should really seriously think about evacuating and leave the rest of us alone, all right? Okay? If you're in an area in New York City where there's potential flooding, and how is that possible after all of this? Okay? We get hit by Hurricane Sandy, and then we're still at the point where shit floods here. What the fuck's the matter with us? And we don't need an infrastructure bill because everything's fine. And then I got pictures from, pictures coming up from Tennessee. They're flooding. Come on. You fucking shit. Get our shit together. Huh? Especially if we're going to be in the midst of, no, we're not in the midst of climate change. This is just an aberration of the heavens, this is what God does when he's upset, when he's got a car bomb. Come on, people. Son of a bitch. It's just too much. Hurricane Henri. It's extraordinary to me. And the news is just, all it is, is there any other news? Is there any other news besides COVID? Afghanistan, Haiti, COVID, Afghanistan, Haiti, COVID, Afghanistan. Now Haiti's slipping from view. It's been on a kind of tape loop. Actually, that's what I was going to call it. I was going to call it, is there any other news? But I thought that Haiti, son of a bitch. Boy, that country just gets whacked and whacked and whacked and whacked. And it's sitting there right on an island with the Dominican Republic, which seems to do very, very well. How does this shit happen? And it doesn't seem to do anything. The Dominican Republic seems to have a dome around it. But meanwhile, Haiti, whoo, you get a fucking 7.23 whatever earthquake followed by a tropical storm Grace. What a name. There's another name, Grace. Yeah, boy, I'm sure the good people of Haiti the Haitians felt grace as grace passed through. How the fuck do you get hit? What have you possibly done as a people? All right? You're dealing with a pandemic, then a goddamn fucking huge fucking earthquake followed by a goddamn hellish storm. And it's over and over. It's like, it's not that long ago they got whacked. And it's been continuous. Even when I was a kid, they were run by this maniac, Papa Doc Duvalier, and I haven't got time to go into that, and I'm not going to sit here and teach history. There are plenty of places you can get that on your own. And I studied for that test, and I got a B. I can't figure this out. I can't figure out what and we're whining. I whine. We all whine. We whine. Look at those. Look, you see those photos? As if and it's enough to have to already have been awash in what we're awash in and trying to help people. And we want to help them, most of us. And we're there. The Coast Guard is coming in, chopper after chopper, taking people out to getting them to safety and getting them to hospitals. God in heaven. And you watch Afghanistan, and then you watch, then it flips to COVID. And Haiti, by next week, Haiti will be gone. Bye-bye. There'll be a little news clip here and there, a little thing in your email, send some money. And then they'll prep for whatever is next, which could be cholera or fucking whatever. Or, some massive outbreak of this fucking COVID. And then it'll be the news if it's COVID related. Unbelievable. And you watch those people in Afghanistan. And the only thing that truly is amazing to me is they haven't mentioned the fact that are these people vaccinated? Look at them. None of them are wearing masks. What the fuck's the matter with them? We're going to let them into our country? Are you kidding me? All those people? Not one of them's masked. Did they vaccinate them at the border? Is that why it's taken so long? Huh? Is that what the Taliban's doing? What the hell is going on that they can't get, how is that? Did they all get vaccinated? That's how come they can, and then they get on a plane in close proximity. Then they're going to show up here, spread it to everybody? Huh? It's bad enough that they're coming over the border doing it, huh? The Mexicans are giving to us. And there's this lieutenant governor jackass, whose name I will not mention because I don't remember it, from Texas, who says it's really the African Americans who are they're the unvaccinated who have really caused this. Since they're not getting vaccinations, they're causing the spread. Meanwhile, the governor Abbott he announces this the week that the governor fucking got COVID. And then they said he had a third shot. The fucking nonsense around that. I mean, there was news he's got a third shot. He's getting Regeneron. I mean, what? Are you serious? You're gonna bring up the African American community, Lieutenant Governor? What is the matter with you? Okay, because the fact is it's not a fact. All right, it's not the largest amount of people in Texas who aren't vaccinated are white people. Okay, I believe that's the truth. Or it's certainly close enough. It's the largest group of people, and you can't. And you point the finger at black people. What is the matter with you? You have to keep it to yourself, shithead. Stop it. Well, I didn't mean it. Fuck you. You didn't mean it. Of course you meant it. And the governor is wandering around in an event without a mask. And the next day we find out he's got it. And nobody's masked at this event. And they're packed in to some fucking event like they're living in Afghanistan. So I'm sure that they'll point to Afghanistan as the reason, well, if they can do it, how come we can't do it? It goes on and fuck on and fuck on. And they have this big thing the other night here that got bumped by the storm coming in, the Welcome Back New York City, 60,000 people in Central Park. We only needed one shot. No, you should have needed both. People watch that around the country and go, see, boy, they're doing it in New York City. Boy, look what they're up to. How come we can't? So all you need to do, reinforce idiots, because that's what it does. All right? It reinforces idiots. And I just didn't understand. I'm not even going to go through that to review it. Others have done it. I don't want to sit here. There's no reason to discuss some of the people who are hosting it. There's no reason to have people in the news hosting a musical event. Okay, that's it. Enough said. Move on. Son of a bitch. Just amazing to me. And the unvaccinated are now blaming the vaccinated for the spread. I haven't got the energy to keep up with this. The levels of insanity pile one on top of the other, on top of the other, on top of the other, until we're swimming in a river of shit and choking on our own demise. I fucking can't. How do you just shut the fuck up, huh? What is it with you? Boy, it's the vaccinated. No, not true. Not true. Not the way. Not according to the facts. And there are facts that are out there. All right. There are truths that are out there. There are people who are doing the study, and we better. And what would be really wonderful if instead of both sides kind of popping off, if we actually did due diligence and got the numbers that we should have gotten by being able to do the things that you do during a pandemic, in which other countries do, tracking the spread and seeing, how it works and keeping a close eye on it as opposed to trying to hide it and calling it something else. All right, what's it going to take? Huh? What's it going to take for folks? Huh? What's it take for Governor DeSanitary, the unsanitary down in Florida? Okay? He's loading up on Regeneron. That's his idea. He won't let kids get masked, but because the whole concept is he's got we'll have Regeneron. So the whole idea is give it to him when you got something that will prevent it. It's called a mask that might help, and then a vaccination, which would help. And we can begin to get back to a kind of a normalcy, which we're not going to get back to at the rate we're going if we're going to continue to have these kind of idiotic fights over. I mean, come on, Governor Unsanitary. What is the matter with you? What? And then to find out, of course, that one of the major donors that he has is a group that has put a lot of money into Regeneron. Well, case closed. How do you know that? Because I read this shit. I stumble across it. I don't even go looking for it. It comes and it finds me, because that's the way it is. I'm really lucky that way. Goddamn, the minority just keeps yelling and screaming, yelling and screaming, yelling and screaming. The minority. Standing there, the people who have children going to schools want them masked. The majority of Americans. How do I know that? Because I do. That's how I know it. Because most people want their children protected. Even if it's just, even if they probably don't believe it works, it's something. It's a totem. They feel as if they at least tried. Okay? And these people stand at these meetings, the minority, screaming and yelling as if they are the majority. They're not. So you don't get to yell. Not at all. You know who gets to yell? I get to yell. Right? It's my job. All right? That's what yelling is about. And you better know what yelling is for. It's about expressing anger in a way in which you still show your vulnerability if you can. Took me years to be able to do that. And now that's slipping because I'm sitting down here in this fucking goddamn, cable access studio I've created. Public access. Cable is being too kind. And the reason I'm so fucking angry, and I know that last week I kind of went over the top, and this week it kind of doubled down on itself when I discovered my friends and I went to dinner with a good friend of ours, and I will not mention names because I've talked about them before. One of my friends was getting ready to go to Italy to take a break, a much-needed break, and had been gotten through all of this, even though they were at a high risk, and more so than any of us, and immune problems. And I'd even mentioned maybe seeing if you could get another shot before he left. And we all decided we were going to dinner and, kind of as to see each other and spend time and to give a kind of a bon voyage meal. And because he really did need this time away. And we were very excited for him. And we had a great meal together. We hadn't seen each other in a while, the group of us. There were 4 of us. And we finished up and had a lovely night. And one of my friends was heading out to do a TV show. And I had a bunch of work this week that I was bitching about. That won't happen again. Oh, that will not happen again. And another friend of mine also knee deep in it and has to have tested every day because of his work. And I get back, I'm out, come back on, get a call on Monday and after the dinner on Sunday, and that my friend who had survived 500 some odd days now had tested positive the day before he's supposed to leave. And it was deeply upsetting because it was freaked for him badly, as we all were, and many of our friends were, and freaked for us because now we had to test too. And because as much as I strongly believe all of what that I've heard, which is that your chances of getting into the hospital are very slim. They're much higher for my friend if you're immunocompromised, if you're elderly, if you're my mother and you're verging on 103 years old, then maybe. I, of course, being 72 and having an underlying condition, there's always a kind of like, because I go back to the very beginning of this and wonder, because initially I had been hugged by a friend of mine who was diagnosed with COVID, tested positive very early on. And that shook me up for 2 weeks. Got through today, made it. And now we needed to get this test done. And although I have this tremendous faith, you kind of go, well, there's going to be people who it didn't work quite well for, just didn't happen for. That's the way it is sometimes, people. That's how it is. You take a vaccination, it holds for 99% of the people, holds for 98% of the people. It holds out well. We get rid of smallpox, we get rid of all sorts of, we get polio, gone. We do all of that. But then, through it, there are people who, got sick. So there's a fear there. And because there's a certain amount of PTSD we all have, I believe we all have. A lot of people are stronger than that. There's some people who don't have it. A lot of people who don't believe that there is a problem with COVID. They don't seem to have it. These people who think that you don't need to wear a mask, these people who seem to think that you don't need to be vaccinated, they seem to be, pretty much carefree. They're fine. They don't seem to think there's a problem whatsoever. And those of us who have kind of tried to really remain as safe as possible, I think have a little more of a little more anxiety inside, a little more depression inside, a little more fear inside. I know I fucking do. And I know that the whole week and my friends who are all, we're all in pretty good health. I have a shitty little underlying thing, but it does not undermine my daily life in any fashion. And, but we're all, your brain just kind of goes, your brain can't get away from that. Your brain kind of goes, okay, you're fucked now. You really are fucked now. Because even with it, even if you're not going to go to the hospital, you're going to get sick. You're going to have a fucking shitty flu and you're going to feel like dog shit. And you're going to lie in bed. You're going to sweat. and you're going to do all of those things you have when you have a flu, which I've avoided a lot of flu during my life. And I just, your brain just can't stop nattering. Okay. And what did you do? Did something happen that night? And then now everything. What am I going to have to do now? How am I going to deal with this? How am I going to deal with the fact that things going to change now? Do I have to really check on everything? Because everything had been kind of done, and now I'm kind of going back to where I was at the beginning. Now I'm going to wash my hands every 5 minutes, and now I'm going to have to, to hose my food down with Clorox. And now what else do I have to do? I don't hose my food down with Clorox. I've gotten past that pretty quick, but because I thought I'd die of Clorox poisoning. So it just, your brain fucking can't stop. Your brain basically will not focus the way it's taken me months to get back. Once I got the vaccine, it took my brain a number of months to fucking focus. And now all of a sudden, boom, and it's wandering around again. Going down the hallway looking to make sure that there's no COVID in the area. Son of a bitch. And I look at these people who have not done what I thought all Americans, not all, but I thought that most Americans, certainly enough that we would reach a tipping point and not have to worry about this at this point in time. And that when I was going back on the road in September, I would not have to worry. And I wouldn't have to worry about my friend getting COVID after being double vaxxed, even if he was immunocompromised, because people had done the right thing. But they hadn't. I don't know why, and I don't know for what reason. And for those who don't, look, I get some of you are got their really legitimate reasons, you don't. But for the others, once they this week make that decision that the FDA approves it, I pray that you, and I don't pray often, that you go out there and get vaccinated. Because what has occurred is a creation of this variant that is this Delta variant that the folks who did not do their due diligence, who didn't do the things that needed to be done to keep us safe, allowed that variant to spread like wildfire, which it's doing literally throughout Alabama, Texas, Florida, Mississippi, Louisiana. And we're sending down, fucking federal aid and all sorts of shit for them. What's it take? Huh? I mean, really, the doctors, I admire them immensely, because if I think that, part of me thinks in terms of they should walk away. Say, we're not going to treat these people. We've got to treat people who are vaccinated. Am I being mean? Yeah, I'm being mean. But we've got to treat people who, because what's happening in those states is you can't get in certain areas, like in Tennessee, in certain places, you can't get emergency help. You have a heart attack, you're fucked. If you need to get to you need 911, forget it. That's the facts, because of a variant that is literally going through like wildfire and sending people into that hospital. And let me just say, that the doctors, I think it would help if the doctors said, we're just going to treat those who have got real emergencies now. And those who have the COVID problem, I'm sorry, we're going to do what we can for them, but we have to free up some hospital beds. I mean, I don't know what to do. I don't know if you put them into, they've sent down to places, these giant army tents like they did here, to create spaces where, they could be, another, places where they could be dealt with, where they could be treated. You get fucking, you have to take these people hand by hand and take them through this? You take everyone who's not been vaccinated and take them into a hospital and go, look at this. Look at what hath been wrought. A word I've never used, wrought. Never. But it seems as if we're going to live in the 17th century, rot works really well now. Look at what was going on. Huh? Do we carry the dead into the streets? Is that what we do? Is that what we need to do? They needed 6 fucking or whatever, how many trucks, mortuaries down in fucking Texas for their dead. It's like fucking absurd. No, put them outside, put them in front of, put them right out there where people can see it and can get a sense of it. Put them under glass so they get an idea of that there's death right around the fucking corner. Well, there's my sense of humor. God, and certainly, aren't you glad you tuned in today? Let me see if I missed anything, and I don't think so. Nope. I got it all. I got all the happiness I could out of my system. Oh, wow. And just a few things before I go. There's a report this recently that former President Trump has consistently, this is typical of him, ignored or rejected pleas for help from Rudy Giuliani. You remember him? His former lawyer now drowning in legal bills resulting from his quixotic efforts to keep Trump in office. Meanwhile, Trump has raised $1 quadrillion from that group of people who believe that, freedom's just another word. Jesus. For bullshit on a stick. Unbelievable. But that's typical. You go back and look at the history, folks. Nobody wants to. Those his true believers, those of us who live in New York watched it. You don't do what as soon as you have to get his help. And as soon as you might be toxic, he walks away. As loyal as you've been, that's who you want to work for. He said too this week that he would have done a better job in Afghanistan, even though he's the one can't even. He fucked it up. They all fucked it up. Okay, start at the beginning, go all the way through. All right. I hope the lesson was learned. I hope the lesson has been learned. All right. It all goes back to me. The moment in which they sent a 26-year-old to rename the streets of Iraq and do the street grid based on a grid that was from Baltimore, Maryland. True story. 26-year-old in Iraq. Yeah, we know what we're doing. Here's one. An Atlanta mother has filed a federal complaint against her daughter's elementary school for segregating students by race. Not good. Not good. Not good. I'm sorry, I don't think that's right. Kyler Posey says that Sharon Briscoe is who's a black principal at Mary Lynn Elementary, confirmed that she decided black students should be taught in their own classrooms because of the services they need. Federal officials are investigating. They may need services, but I'm sure that maybe those white students may need services too. And I think there has to be another way to do it. We can't start separating. Has to be we have to find another way to do it. We didn't come this far for us to just kind of go back to, segregation. It's a step back. I'm sure that there'll be people telling me I'm crazy. There's kind of a new wave of thought out there that I just pick up on from time to time. You see it in universities, you see it in young people, the way they approach it, kind of a logic that I'm not sure I quite follow at times. And I probably would understand it more if I had a little more time with it. I just get it in snippets. And isn't that good that I just talked about something and gave no concrete examples of what I was really talking about? But when I find something, I'll pass it on to you, I promise. And finally, and this one is this is beyond belief. The Democratic governor of Oregon, Kate Brown, scrapped the requirement that high school students demonstrate proficiency in math, reading, reading, writing, so that more minority students can graduate. The nonprofit Foundations for a Better Oregon thanked Brown for her commitment to every student's success. Doesn't make for a successful student to pass if they are not proficient in reading and writing and math. That's the road. That road may be paved with good intentions, but it certainly goes down a rabbit hole where somebody can get lost and end up spending years at the back doing a restock at Kmart, as my mother would say, taking something that she didn't, converting it to the times. That's unbelievable. You can't no. You have to have a proficiency. And if you don't, then there's no reason to educate people. And does there have to be public education? Do we have to put more money into it? Yes. Does throwing money at education mean throwing it at teachers? A bit in certain places because they're getting fucked. And it's why we don't have some really great people who should be there, who should be teaching, and who aren't going for that calling because they know that they're just going to be broke, much like certain people leave the theater because they were broke after a while. But we do need to do everything that we can to make our schools really great. Public education was part of the deal from the very beginning. That's the deal. I'm sorry. It's the cornerstone. It's I think it's the most important cornerstone of building a truly great society. And we've let that cornerstone fucking fuck up and sink into the ground, and enough's fucking enough. And we leave you with that happy note. And it was a pleasure spending time with you this week, and I certainly feel better. And I'm glad that I don't even think I said that I tested negative after all that. But I did. Or it would have really been yelling. See, I saved it for the end. I was so fucking angry, and I wanted to get through this stuff. I didn't put on the paper. I tested negative. We all did. My friend who's the one who was tested positive, is doing much, much better. Others who had some contact, all are doing well. And I'm sorry I saved that for so long, but I guess you assumed it. I had not been tested before. And so it was, and I can't believe I forgot to tell you. And Lewis, as I drove us into a ditch and refused to tell you that we got out. Oh boy. But I'm very happy that it was negative. And I had not been tested, never needed it. Always felt good. Thought I might be asymptomatic this time. And that might be the problem, if I had a problem, because I was not seemingly getting sick. And I'm glad to say that now, with really a week past, that it all looks well for all of us. And now I just got to find my brain. You guys help me with that every single week with the rants that you send in. It really does. Can't tell you how much it helps, and I can't repeat how great I think the stuff that you're writing is. And I look forward to getting more from you. Get it off your chest, let it rip. Or as I have in today's, possibly or next week's, there's a lamentation. Maybe next week's, we'll see. Little surprise. But please take care of yourselves and each other. Please make sure if you've got kids that they're masked when they go to school. And if you can convince anyone, to get vaccinated, it takes us one step closer to a better place. I'd like to get there. Tell them if they do, it might mean that it would be a big help to their IRA, because if we don't get this straightened out, that, economically we're fucked. Maybe that's the way at it. I mean, that doesn't seem to faze them, because we got a ton of problems once we get through this big fucker. Got a ton of problems to deal with, but they seem to be a lot easier to deal with than this one. I hope we do. And if you were in the midst of this storm, I hope you stayed safe. Thanks as always. You mean the world to me. I mean that. And I should have told you earlier that I tested negative. What makes you happy? Is there something that interferes with your happiness or prevents you from achieving your goals? Is your mental health something you'd like to work on? I mean, I've been doing it for years. And that's why I want to talk to you about one of my sponsors, BetterHelp. BetterHelp is an online counseling service that assesses your needs and matches you with your own licensed professional therapist. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional counseling in a convenient and private online environment. You log on to the website and you can start communicating with someone in less than 48 hours. They pair you with a counselor that you can message whenever you'd like, and you will get timely and thoughtful responses. You can also schedule weekly video or phone sessions from home without having to travel. They work with licensed professionals to match you with someone that works for you. So whether it be stress, anxiety, sleep, trauma, anger, well, I deal with that in a different way, as many as you know. Family conflicts, grief, relationships, LGBTQ matters, or self-esteem. BetterHelp is committed to helping you find the expertise you need online without having to be limited by geographic location. They offer financial aid, and they make it free and easy to change counselors if need be. It's confidential, convenient, professional, and more affordable than traditional offline counseling. Just go to their website to sign up and check out their daily testimonials. And if you are a counselor yourself, they are currently recruiting professionals in all 50 states. I want you to start living a better life today. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/rantcast. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/rantcast. A quick little rant from John Filippi. I've noticed there are a bunch of geese who are always pooping all over the roads around my high school, and we can't take it. Thanks, John. They're everywhere. I've seen more geese. I don't know if it's because of where I've been, but there are a ton of them around, and there seem to be more and more of them. And I don't know what's up with that. I don't get it. I don't know if it's because maybe they're vaccinated. Maybe that's how. It's very odd. To see this many geese, and they certainly are poop. They are poop factories. Those little fuckers. So what can I tell you? There are a ton of them out there for no apparent reason that I know of. I wonder where you're writing from, but maybe we could have compared notes. I've been a bunch of places all over. They're following us. They're following us. Thanks, John. This comes to us from Tina Maria Schwegel, and I'll just read it. I always start to say something, and I shouldn't fucking say anything. I should just fucking read it. But I always think I have something important. Just shut the fuck up, Lewis, and that's my rant against me. Okay? Dear Lewis, my rant today is about manners. Why the fuck is it so hard for people to say, excuse me? I work in a grocery store and I move product around in the aisles. My job can be very challenging at times. It is made even more challenging when customers walk in front of me or behind me and they don't acknowledge my presence by saying, "Excuse me." When I go shopping, I take the time to say, "Excuse me" to other customers and in-store employees. Manners seem to have become a lost art. When I hear "excuse me," I am often reminded of my dad impersonating Steve Martin saying, "Well, excuse me." Saying please, thank you, excuse me should be words that everyone should say at least once a day, or almost as much as they say fuck. Thanks again, T. Thank you, Tina Maria. I'm sorry if I've mucked up your last name there. I do apologize. I thought I came close, but who knows? The thing, we don't even have manners. We're not even acting civil. We can't even, we've lost all patience. So if you're in the aisle, they've got to get through. They've got to get their fucking, they need to get down there to get that. It almost tastes like butter or whatever the fuck that shit is. I mean, come on. I mean, I think it's terrific that you pointed it out. But I don't know how far we are away from people getting back to manners and etiquette. Simple etiquette. Simple human decency. God, you figure, boy, once we get back together, everything will be just like Peachy Keen. Fuck you. No, it wasn't. No. All people did was learn to hide out in their little fucking caves and scream and yell, and then take that screaming and yelling into the streets as if they're still fucking on Facebook or, whatever else that they're screaming into, their little portholes. Fucking grow up. Thank you, Tina Maria. Philip Bailey is irate and I believe has every right to be. Listen up. As our president would say, here's the deal. If I had a time machine, I would go back and bash the living fuck out of whoever came up with the brilliant idea of the e-scooter with my dick. I work at a restaurant on the river. We have outdoor seating on the esplanade outside of said restaurant. Every goddamn day, we have to deal with dumb fuck teenagers and drunk college cunts flying down the esplanade at breakneck speeds. They buzz people, yell banshee noises, and only stop to get violent when someone tells them to slow the living fuck down. To make it even worse, there's signs everywhere on the esplanade saying, "No fucking scooters." Obviously, these assholes can't read or don't care, and I'm guessing it's a combination of both. I actually just watched a 20-something tool shove a 50-year-old woman to the ground because she yelled at him for almost hitting her dog while he was doing light speed on one of those fucking scooters. And to make matters worse, the e-scooter companies overload the entrance to the esplanade with scooters, even though, in theory, they're not fucking allowed there. And the scooter gangs find it funny to knock down and destroy the signs. They also find it fun to throw shit while flying by and break shit too. The police here are useless, and so nothing is ever done. Property damage, assault, and generally being a wet, severed dickhead apparently isn't a crime anymore. I'm a generally compassionate person, but when I see one of those fuck dumpsters eat shit on an e-scooter, I pull a Seinfeld, simply say, "That's a shame," and smile and get about my day. Hopeful that maybe that sidewalk might have knocked some goddamn sense into them, and they never ride one of those fucking scooters again. Thanks, Lewis. Cheers. Cheers. That's a great ending. Cheers. I think that was something you needed to get off your chest, Philip, and I can understand why. We have some scooters here in New York, not many considering, but probably, who knows, they'll be bringing them in. Now that you've shown what a horrendous problem it could become, and people are really bitching about it. I mean, they talk about, okay, it doesn't matter. We're just going to leave this here. They just there's no managing these fuckers. Apparently, they didn't seem to really do it. They just, bring the scooters and we'll try it out. And then they just left the scooters everywhere around certain parts of the country that I was going into before the shit hit the veritable fan. Jessica Mikowski hits the bullseye. I know this isn't about the hot topic of the virus and vaccines, but I'll keep it as short as possible, I promise. But I needed to share some vanilla science, hashtag vanilla science, with these flat earth fucking morons. I mean, people. If you'd help me get the word out, I'd appreciate it. It isn't hard. It's not rocket science. Pluto, round. Mars, round. Venus, round. The moon, round. The sun, round. In fact, Lewis, all planets and stars are round. Even black holes are round. All the planets in all the galaxies, as far as can be seen, round. They're all fucking round, Lewis. But these flat earth morons think Earth is the fucking exception. They obviously never took physics, but neither did I. However, I'm not a dingbat, and I still grasp the general concept. I get that one flat planet amongst all round planets wouldn't function the way the other planets do, and ours does. End of the argument. Huh? End of the argument, flat earth assholes. Or as she seems to have written it, flurfer assholes. Is that a word? Well, you've made it up, or did I miss it? End of the argument, flurfer assholes. Flurfer. Love you, Lewis. Thank you for being my spirit animal. Ooh, good luck with that. Jessica from Fergus Falls, Minnesota. It's close to Fargo, North Dakota. And hey, go to Wyvoda Carpet Sales and Consignment next time you're there. They're the most fun and the largest consignment place I've ever been to. Okay. I'll get to Wyvoda as soon as I'm out there again. Wow. I wonder how many flurfers there are out there in Fergus Falls. Thank you, Jessica. Michael Berger has shared this with us, and I'm glad he has. Restaurant patrons, why the fuck are people always trying to get something for nothing? Huh? They think to themselves, hey, if I complain and send this back to the kitchen, I'll get my meal for free. Really? What the fuck? I was a chef in a small town restaurant in Illinois for 19 years. These ungrateful fucking morons would frequent the establishment 2 to 3 times a week and would order the same fucking meal for years. These morons would tell the waitresses out in the dining room that we're working their asses off to serve these ungrateful fucks. My steak is supposed to be well done. Well done, really? You fucking idiot. Your steak is already a tough piece of shit because I've already charred any and all the juices out of it. Hell, your fucking steak wouldn't moo even if you shoved a cattle prod up its ass. Fucking asshole cheese. These asshole patrons are the same motherfuckers that show up 5 minutes from closing and expect to be served. The piece of shit owner has no balls and tells us to serve the asswipes, and then the fuckers only leave the waitresses a 28-cent tip. Really, you fucking jagoffs? Then the fucking morons say, oh, he was such a good chef before he went postal. So all you inconsiderate fucks, get a fucking clue and thank all the essential workers for feeding your stupid asses. I always try to, Michael. I worked as a bartender. My friend runs a restaurant. I always used to do a big tip appeal when I worked in clubs. Fucking unbelievable. People have no concept of what it comes to tipping. None. Just none at all. It's really extraordinary. And now they bitch because they're going to actually pay people more. And then the price of everything will rise a little. And then they call that inflation, but I don't think it's really inflation. It's what it costs to have folks be able to live like human beings. But, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I'm not an economist. No, I'm not. I'm just thinking that maybe When you start raising wages, it all kind of trickles down. And hopefully we'll all be able to pay the bills. We'll see. I saw something this week. They said the Fed is supposed to stop inflation. That's what they said. Somebody said it somewhere. It was early in the morning. Too early for economics. But beside that, Michael, thank you. And I know it must drive you nuts working in a restaurant. I don't know how you folks do it. I really don't. I don't know how my friend has survived. I barely survived as a bartender. The only thing that saved me from anything, from real problems, was that there was a big slab of wood between me and the jackasses. I guess I saw it the other way. Well, what the fuck? JM is pissed, angry, upset, mad. You'll see. You'll see. You'll see. Yes, you will. I work at a state university, and I've dealt with a whole array of idiocy from these college kids we hire as student employees. From students with a 4.0 that can't fucking point out Africa on a fucking world map, to lazy motherfuckers who are failing their class and told by their professor to simply show up for the final and they'll pass, only to not even bother to go. You know, our future fucking leaders. On a personal or social level, most of these kids are all right and not very high on the obviously assholes meter, at least. There's a lot of shit that I've seen over the years, from those within the system to those outside, that warrant hours of ranting and years of therapy. This recent one, though, holy fuck. What really takes the fucking cake is a former student that tested positive for COVID. This idiot earns the title of stupid as a rock on all scales. How stupid? Well, imagine a person in their late 20s who gets the vaccine and is under the impression that this means there's no need to wash their hands. Ever. To never wash their fucking hands. It hurts my brain to come to terms with the notion that I've actually met someone that's stupid. Not that another former student thinking that Africa is South America is much of a consolation. At least that one isn't going to spread COVID or some other horrible disease. I always thought this person was an unparalleled idiot, but boy, oh boy, did it surprise me to believe the vaccine allows one to not wash their hands safely. This is that's really unbelievable, Jay. Not after taking a shit and not before eating food. I always assumed there were many people out there like that, but to know one personally only supports the idea that they're all over the fucking place. Even while sick before getting tested, this fucker was going out in public. Again, our college-educated future leaders. A little daily reminder that many people are fucking stupid, and to wash your fucking hands. Even those evil motherfucking anti-vaxxers and COVID deniers might agree that not washing your hands after you take a shit is gross. Remember this story the next time you touch anything. I will repeat that. The next time you touch anything. P.S. Get vaccinated and wash your fucking hands, you selfish pricks. Well, how can somebody get vaccinated and then not think you have to wash your hands anymore? We've reached a new level. It's everywhere. It's not just college. It's all age groups. It's every day something. We all see it every day, and the mind used to be blown. You used to have to actually smoke copious amounts of marijuana to reach the level that we're blowing our minds on a daily basis now with folks like this who gets a shot and doesn't wash, believes he doesn't have to wash his hands. I don't know if we need drugs anymore, or we need drugs that'll help us kind of find a way to encompass the kind of insanity that we're watching that allows us a larger framework in which to put the movie. I don't know, JM, but all I can say is good luck at whatever school you're working at. And I'm glad you're there. And hopefully you told this kid a thing or two. I sure hope so. Adrian Dancer is pissed about holidays in the future, holidays that will be coming. She walked into a store somewhere, and I believe it was like being in a time machine and jacked everything up really quickly. And she got pissed. Dear Lewis, it's 150 fucking degrees outside, and everyone is either at the beach or a pool. You know what that means? The holiday shit is already on the shelves. And you know what that means? Fucking retail holiday music medley season. And by holiday, I mean Christmas. Since you never hear the dreidel song in the stores, the Jewish people have been through enough. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind Christmas. I even enjoy watching classic Christmas movies, like the one with the cartoon kids and the dog. It has the little bird friend, that one about the reindeer, and that one about the grumpy green guy that steals shit, and then has a change of heart. It's the fucking retail Christmas song medleys that I can't stand. I haven't worked a retail job in over 20 years, but I still get PTSD whenever I hear the first few notes of Feliz Navidad in the store. My right eye starts twitching, and I have to restrain myself from throwing merchandise in the aisles like a chimpanzee in the zoo chucking excrement out of its cage. You can tell who has worked in retail over the holidays. Just look for anyone in the store who is crying in a fetal position as soon as Burl Ives' voice comes over a PA system. Perhaps it's because no matter which retail store I've worked in or currently shop in, they all have the same Santa fucking medley of songs. The same fucking songs. In a torturous loop like some type of sick musical Groundhog Day. I've heard that when waterboarding doesn't work, the CIA plays Little Drummer Boy over and over and over again. And that's how we found out where Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden were hiding. Winter Wonderland, I fucking wonder when I can have one day in the next few months where I can leave my house and not be bombarded with that song. Silent Night, sounds good to me. Allow us customers to shop in silence so that we don't feel inclined to shove stale 30-year-old candy corn on a clearance shelves into our ear holes. Are they still looking for volunteers from Mars? Maybe I can get on a list for that. Mars might be the only place where I can avoid Mariah Carey's unholy full Christmas song catalog and enjoy some peace. Wow. Adrian, they've already got you wound up. It's months away. It's months away. You're prepared. Maybe if you kind of get it all off your chest now, by the time it arrives, you'll already be through it. But I doubt it. Thanks, Adrian. Carrie Oakley wrote this before the governor of New York State, my state, resigned, but it doesn't undermine what she has to tell us, which is a teaching rant. A rant that tells us something that we should know, enlightens us. I'm really pleased she sent it in. I'm positive that Cuomo honestly doesn't understand what the fuss is about. I'm also positive that most other men don't understand, really deep down beneath it all. Now, I think that many men want to understand, but they seem to be incapable of grokking the concept. How do I know this? Let me offer examples. Now, I'm a female and prefer to have control over my personal space. One of the dentists at the practice I frequent is a touchy-feely kind of guy. He thinks he's being supportive. It's just how he is. I'm lying there on the chair, and as he talks, he touches my shoulder, kind of regularly. He's sitting up, I'm lying down. I'm paying to have my teeth cleaned. It's kind of creepy. But it's obvious that the touching is unconscious on his part. So I politely say, please don't touch me. By the look on his face with his eyes popping out of his head, no patient had ever said anything like this to him before. He tries to comply, but slips up a couple of more times. The practice has a strong reputation in the community. Needless to say, I go to another dentist in the group. Here's another. At a small restaurant we used to frequent, the owner had a habit of stopping by the tables to greet his customers, particularly his regulars. Lots of shoulder touching. So here too, I politely say, "Please don't touch me." This man's reaction was quite stunning. He gave off a palpable sense of fear. He reacted as if I had accused him of sexual harassment. For the next few times we came in, he would visibly back away and make odd comments. We don't go to this place anymore. Here's the best one. I'm shopping for therapists. Almost everyone has one, so why not give it a try? After I sit down with one particular psychologist, he pulls his rolling desk chair up so that he is closer than I think he needs to be. So after a couple of pleasantries, I politely say, "You're sitting too close. Please back up." Oh my God, Lewis again. Clearly no one had ever said anything like this to him ever before. He was completely nonplussed and thought that this would be the first thing we would address in therapy. Who gives out these fucking professional licenses? I didn't ask him to back up into the hallway or to demand to meet in a larger room or raise my voice or do anything except state a preference. Therapy? Not for me, thanks. I'm now omitting several stunning examples of male speech, all unwitting remarks that would qualify as creating a hostile workplace. I'm not a particularly comely female. Why anyone would want to casually touch me quite eludes me. And don't get me started on the tired trope in TV shows and films in which women always bestow a spontaneous tight hug on whatever man has helped them. Male fantasy, all of it, that women welcome and or accept unasked for male touch without question and seek to bestow touch in return as a mark of favor, as if a hug were the same as a bouquet of flowers or a thank you card. To offer even more perspective on the topic of unwanted touching, think about the Queen of England. No one is supposed to touch the Queen unbidden. There's a boatload of protocol to protect her personal space. And yet some world leaders have messed up and touched her unbidden anyway. If the fucking Queen of England can't expect to have her personal space protected and has to have staff and protocols to even try, how much the more so is there no hope for any other woman on earth? Oh, I feel better now. Sincerely, Carrie Oakley. Thank you for that, Carrie. That was just splendid. I really wished I heard you'd shared the unwitting remarks that create a hostile workplace. But that was an idiot therapist. The problem with therapy is there, I would say probably 90% of the people who are therapists, I went to 3 initially that were terrible until I found one that helped. I mean, the first one I went to makes this one seem like a genius. But you'd have to want to spend time looking for somebody. And I don't know if you need it, since you certainly know that what it would be called the 12 stages of men having no comprehension of personal space. Carrie Oakley, splendidly done. Thank you. I really appreciated it. Matthew Schlimme, or Matthew, since I can't pronounce his last name, shares a very, very logical rant. Anytime I'm driving and see another car with a bumper PSA about texting and driving, I struggle with the urge to tighten my seatbelt and smash the shit out of their bumper, just so I can point out how much they are bringing down the public IQ by not understanding the irony. You could have chose to provide people with an easy way to help food insecure people in your community. feedingamerica.org. Help make sure everyone has shelter. And homelessness.org, or at least provided me with some whimsical treat while I drive behind you, probably cursing how you are either driving too slow or fast. But no, instead, you wanted me to be a safe driver and not read text. I repeat, you make me read text on your moving vehicle telling me not to read text. I get it not operating your phone while driving, and even agree it's best to just focus and not interact with your phone or the computer now built into all cars. It's just that for some reason, reading it on a bumper gives me that twinge of a stroke/urge to damage personal property. I then remind myself that at least I'm not reading it on one of those digital billboards, because that's the one that would probably make me put the gas pedal through the floor until a multi-car pileup slows me down. Peach out. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you. I didn't put in any of my charity plugs because you did quite well. You didn't need my help. Anthony Liuzza is angry and with good reason. And if this had happened to me, okay, here we go. I'm 22 and just graduated from college with a master's. Or so I thought. Since May, I've been waiting for my diploma to arrive in the mail. I've moved since I started school, so I thought it got lost somehow. I called my university, which is run by a bunch of fuckheads who don't do their jobs, and I was finally informed I was missing one class. It's August. I walked in May. When the fuck was someone going to tell me I didn't graduate? I've never even gotten a C in school, but no one thought it was a good idea to tell me I didn't finish? No email, no calls? Just when my dumbass wanted to know where my degree was, I'm told I never finished? Are you fucking kidding me? Who was going to tell me this? Now in the fall, I have to sit through another bullshit Zoom class, which is more like banging your head against a wall while someone who doesn't know how to use technology rambles on about who gives a fuck. I have a feeling my school just wanted more money from me, and that's why no one told me, those greedy fucks. Or maybe the monkeys running that shithole school were too busy hurling shit at each other to let me know. Now I'm left feeling like I'm an asshole. And usually I believe that, but this time it feels like someone else fucked up. I thought we're supposed to do our jobs. At least that's what my school taught me, but I guess fucking not. So I'll be back in school for another semester because of this fucking class and have to endure the worst education a person can receive. Zoom University. Thanks for reading. I'm reading this because it's unbelievable. I've been a fan of yours since 2006 when I was 7 and watched Black on Broadway for the first time and loved the show. Wow. Stay healthy and safe and keep telling people to just get fucking vaccinated. All right, Anthony. Hey, people, get fucking vaccinated. I can't believe you were watching Black on Broadway at 7. And thank you for sharing that. And that's absurd. And there's no way you can fucking get those idiots to just, what the fuck was the course? That's what I'm wondering. And is it a life-changing, is it a course that you'll go, oh, fuck, if you didn't have that course, that master's really doesn't work. That was the little final brick we needed. You know, we got it all there, but that little brick needed to be put in. Well, here's to getting it done quickly. Congrats on the masters, though. I hope it serves you in good stead, and good luck out there. There are more idiots coming your way, but I think you knew that. Alexander Postal has shared this with us, and I'm glad he has. Hi, Lewis. I have a small rant I'd like to get off my chest. I'm fairly certain others feel the same about these insufferable little annoyances. Fuck you, lift and pull seals on bottles. You always tear at the supposedly convenient tab or are so stuck on there that my fingers hurt before I can get you off the damn bottle. I just want my fucking delicious coffee. What happened to the easy to remove paper tab seals or even the wasteful plastic ring ones? Huh? No, it has to be you, my mortal enemy, bane of my carpal tunnel having existence. Fuck everything with a lift and pull seal in particular, and fuck you to all the companies who like them. And thank you, Alex. I hate those things. And the smaller they are, the bigger the pain in the ass they are. It's really fucking irritating. And I can't believe they have this is the best we can do. We're technologically idiot. We're idiots. Kelly Neithart is enraged for very obvious reasons. Hi, Louis Black. I'm Kelly, originally from St. Louis, and now I live in rural Missouri. I love about half of my life here. I love my partner, and I truly love small town life. However, I literally cannot fucking stomach these dumb bitches I'm surrounded by. Hence this rant. I live in a town that never really shut down, maybe for like 3 weeks in the beginning. Soon after, it was asshole city. Daily fights in parking lots over the mask mandate. Sheriff's Department wouldn't enforce. In God We Trust is a decal on their cruisers. So much for separation of church and state, huh? So I just wore a mask and avoided the stupid. Fucking twice, I almost had to beat the brakes off a bitch for talking shit about me wearing one. I'm in literal fucking Q land. We have a 21% vax rate in this county. The lovely pharmacist at my local place asked me not to include her face in my shot pick because she was getting fucking death threats. Delta surging. 20% of new cases are kids. Side note, how fucked up was it that so many people took up the shitbag subhuman theory that, oh, well, just old people. Ugh. No one's vaxxed but my family, and not a fucking mask in sight. Cut to today. I'm driving, and I see a big ruckus. It's some ladies with signs. I get closer and realize they are protesting kids wearing masks at school because freedom? I stayed home. I wore a mask. I got shots. What about my fucking freedom? I have a child and a grandchild with a hereditary heart condition. It's not a risk I could take. And these fucking freaks out here in these streets with their illiterate fucking signs in front of the fucking library, no less, talking this, but our kids' freedom BS. Okay, trailer park, let the virus take their fucking lives because Biden eats babies. I have dealt with hillbilly truck parades. I have dealt with openly blatant racist filth. I'm so fucking angry. Not sure if this is a rant or a fucking cry for help. I don't want to leave, but your bitch here is for sure going to catch a charge soon. I just don't understand how or when everyone became so fucking stupid. Idiocracy is real, and we're all fucked. Love you. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for sharing that. I don't think it's a cry for help. I just think it's just, just stuff that we just never expected to have to deal with. You know, you don't expect people to want to put their children at risk. You just don't. It's not something I expected. Okay, I get them putting themselves at risk, but the kids need their freedom. Kids need to be healthy. That's it. It's pure and simple. It's done. It's no wonder you fucking lose and you're surrounded by it. I don't know how you do it. I really don't, but my hat is off to you. And maybe in the end, you can lead them to the promised land, or at least show them the route to St. Louis, where my good friend Kathleen Madigan is from. That should give you hope. I really appreciated it. Thanks for sharing your rage. I sure do get it. Bethany Weipert had this to share with us. I begrudgingly live in Davenport, Iowa. I'm trying to move back to the small town of Rock Island, Illinois, where they can actually control crime with common fucking sense. Davenport, Iowa has speed cameras. At first, I didn't have an opinion on this. I realized that our town was huge, and we only had one police department located downtown. My husband and I live on the north side of town, which was said once upon a time to have less crime. But as the years have gone by living in our apartment complex, crime has grown more and more. Things getting stolen out of cars getting stolen. Oh yeah, one night we got fucking shot at while some kids were fighting in the nearby school parking lot. My husband and I would often comment about how we felt bad that the police were just underfunded and overwhelmed with high crime all over the city. I am not all about backing the blue. I just observed our own town's circumstances, I thought. The light was shed on all of these problems when folks from all over came out and rioted at the mall and the Walmart, literally, for the hell of it. It had nothing to do with George Floyd or Black Lives Matter. It was all just for fun. It was entertaining as fuck watching these jackasses doing donuts around the cops and watching the cops chase them like they were actually fucking donuts. It was the same night Donald Trump hid in the basement of the White House. I'll never forget it. They shut the city down and put out a curfew that night. We realized how weak our police department was that night, considering they had to call in backup from at least 6 neighboring police departments, including 2 from Broke, Illinois. Again, I've never been one to say fund the police or back the blue, but I understood our police department clearly didn't have a clue. Especially after a month or so ago, a huge crowd gathered at a parking ramp, all caught on camera, and a public walkway had windows shot out, and our local art museum downtown next to the fucking police department had the same damage done to it. They never found those that were responsible. Recently, I have been finding speeding ticket after speeding ticket in the mail from my husband getting hit by the speed cameras. I kept paying ticket after fucking ticket, yelling and screaming at him to slow the fuck down. Until today. I finally realized one of these tickets was a duplicate. I called up the police department and asked the woman on the other end, hey, why don't they have checks on file considering they have all cleared from my bank account? She said she wasn't sure, but that she would gladly take my payment over the phone. Oh, I am sure she would. After ranting to her about these tickets and how fucking pissed I was, considering we as citizens and citizens from neighboring Broke, Illinois are paying this money, all this money, I asked her where the fuck is this money even going to, considering we have hardly any fucking schools in Davenport. The infrastructure is a fucking joke, and we have a shitty fucking police department. She couldn't answer this question and told me to take a breath. She didn't realize I'd already wasted my breath talking to her. I told her I apologized for my frustration and I would get back to her on such payments. I then did my research and found out, lo and behold, my money for these tickets have been going to the fucking police department. What the actual fuck? Here in fucking Davenport, Iowa, it is always an argument as to what state is better. Many say Iowa because we have a surplus and taxes are lower. Many Iowa-born citizens call Illinois the state of the mob because of Chicago. Seems to me the mob is the fucking jackasses at the fucking Davenport Police Department who are just stealing our money instead of actually investing my fucking money into a fucking police department on the other side of fucking town. Well said, Bethany, well shared. I've been to Davenport, Iowa. I performed there a couple of times. Stayed there once overnight, I think, in one of the hotels as I was crossing the country, and ate at a restaurant a couple of times that had, I know this will bother people, but it had a ton of game, really all sorts of wild and wild game animals all over the place. On the ceilings, on the walls, everywhere. So kind of gothic-y looking as I remember it, and it was really quite something. I know. I'm not talking about, I mean, it was pretty staggering to see all of those heads, yes. And I was not so much, shocked as I was just kind of stunned by the room itself, really, which was quite something. Chicago, the mob, well, that's like a reference from 100 years ago. I'm amazed that maybe Davenport's in a different time zone in terms of what year they're living in. It's not 1937. It's or whenever Daley was in office. Richard, not the son. I hope you get out of Davenport and make it to Rock Island. Get the fuck out of there. Police are having trouble everywhere, including in my neighborhood here in New York. I think what's gone on over the past year and change, 500 days, has really put a twist on things that none of us expected. Here it was the fact that it was a really kind of a safe neighborhood in a lot of ways. I'd never seen anything quite like it in New York. I lived just off Times Square, and the police were really a presence. And then the pandemic hit, and the tourists left, and that's who they were really protecting. they stopped protecting us, but they're coming back now, and hopefully down the road, maybe they'll be protecting you again, Bethany. I hope so. And let me know if that restaurant is still there, if you got a minute. Here's some outrage coming to us from John McCaskey. I have absolutely had it with people who think they are Constitution experts when it comes to social media and their so-called free speech, or a private business asking them nicely to please mask up. These slippery fucks think they are sounding the alarm for government oppression of their free speech when Facebook or Twitter blocks their post, removes it, or suspends their account, when in fact it is actually a private company in a capitalist society choosing to run their company and application as they see fit. It is not the government telling you your post is offensive or completely filled with lies and bullshit. It is the tech giants operating their company, which you have no fucking ownership of. If you wish to create an application that allows people to post lies about COVID or government leaders, or a video of your dog making love to a coconut that was thrown at you by your neighbor who was tired of "don't tread on me" speeches at the HOA meetings, then by all means, get a technology degree and type away at the application code. Free speech says the government shall make no law, not Facebook, you hollow-sided slapdick. Or when you enter a business and the management politely asks you to mask up because they don't want your germs breathed all over their store, it is not communism. It, again, is a prime example of a capitalist society choosing to operate their business how they see fit. You want to open your own hobby store and allow people to sneeze on each other and slap disease-infested high fives with each other when they say 40 cents on a cute picture frame. And by all means, exercise your right to start your own business where employees and customers cannot give a flying fuck about other people who may have children with compromised immune systems. I'm not a doctor, so I couldn't tell you if COVID is real, fake, or a fun game downloaded on the 582nd update to my iPhone. But I don't mind taking a little discomfort in potentially protecting my child or the elderly parent of a friend or a stranger. Last but not least, what the fuck does a man have to do to get the grass in his backyard from growing evenly and fucking green? Fuck! Thank you, Lewis. Keep up the great work. I don't know how great it is, but thank you. In aiding your fellow man to vent without smashing dumb fucks in the face with a wrench. Happy ranting. Well, it does make me happy to rant and to have read that rant, John, which I think was really well spoken. And it is so true. They missed the point. It's a private business. It's the Tufsky Shitsky. Tufsky Shitsky. All right? I'm sick of it. I don't know how to get your grass greener, that's for sure. And I'm glad that I'm helping you not smash somebody in the face with a wrench. If I'm doing that alone, just you, John, if I'm preventing you from doing that, then I've served the public well. Take care of yourself and hide the wrench. Here's a rant from one of our European neighbors, Kai Uwe Palm. Dear Lewis, I would like to submit a little rant about my fellow countrymen. You may have guessed it already. It's not about the Americans, though they provide much opportunity to rant about. No, it's about the good old Germans. The Germans, you might ask? What's there to rant about? Well, I'm a Jew, so I could go on forever. No, not the usual yammering about guild militarism and 2 disappointing world tours in the 20th century. That would be obvious. Though my paternal grandfather was an early SS member, and the maternal one had much to do between 1940 and 45 in Yugoslavia. No, the Germans I want to rant about are old Germans who were teens in the 1950s, who shit their pants and sucked their thumbs during World War II, yet appear to have been members of the NSDAP, that's Nazi party, by the way, with the Golden Party batch. I went to university and got a master's degree as a musicologist. Yes, you've read it. A musicologist, someone who analyzes and criticizes musical phenomena by profession. I've never expected it to be a worthwhile profession as such, which may explain my personal idiocy to you, but I studied out of mere interest and a disdain for materialism as such. What pisses me off is the following. The partner of my late mother, a man who waters his plants so long until his feet get wet, said that he expects me to pay him 500 euros a month because his bank won't give him any more credit. 500 euros a month for a guy whose method of parking consists of steering and listening for noises, who is in debt up to his knees since he met my mother 20 years ago, who wears 2 pairs of glasses whilst driving and watches the streets through that little space between the steering wheel and the upper part of the dashboard? A man who plays the lottery with the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not kidding. To trick all the other people who could not come up with that intricate set of numbers. That's really an individual who leaves tracks of tools whilst goofing up any task he willingly took on himself, a self-proclaimed genius with his own set of thermodynamics in which heat goes down. Hence, his self-built chimney had to follow that rule. That very man had the nerve to ask me for money, and I am pissed about it, Lewis. Lewis, you're an older guy, but I'd guess you would not go around begging for money to spend on your daily stroll to the local casino, would you? You wouldn't take your mother to a hobo, that is, a self-proclaimed wonder healer for cancer. Of course not. You're not the guy who cuts his toenails until they're gone. You're better than that. I try to lead a life of composure and stoicism, but someone who worked for the Stasi, which is the East German secret police of the interior, who reads the yellow press to get a balanced view of our times and who thinks there's an industrial complex for musicologists to work on the conveyor belt making musicology, is melting my brain. I shudder when I think of all the older people of his age, which got traumatized during their World War II childhood, brainwashed by the East German propaganda of the 1950s, pampered during the 1960s and 70s, because our fine democratic state, which, by the way, had more flags on display than North Korea or the USA, made him a paid snitch on his fellow citizens, be it his pupils or the tourists he guided through the Eastern Bloc countries. Thanks for all the rants you've made and you've read so passionately. Well, no, thank you. Be well, yours sincerely, Kral. Insert that ingenious noise you make with your jowls. I'm not sure I can do that without a crowd. It was nice to hear from you, and I'm really glad that I went. One thing, I might borrow money to go to a casino. I certainly would ask Kathleen Madigan for it. Send me a sawbuck. I've basically, every time I've gone to a casino, I've turned to someone I know and say, if you give me $100, I'll turn it into $500. I'm old enough that I actually crossed into East Germany, which was very strange at that point. It was it was a while before. It was still a chunk of time before the end. I was 18 or 19 when I went. And I'll have to say, it was like West Germany was in color, or what was East Berlin I went into. So it was West Berlin was in color, East Berlin was in black and white. I went into, here's a little bit of something few people would go into East Berlin, I think, for, unless you were a theater major. I went into to see the home of the Berliner Ensemble, which is where Bertolt Brecht worked. And it's just historical, and I thought it might rub off on me a little, some of the genius. It was interesting, and good luck with musicology, and that weird person that's your mother's partner. Take care of yourself, and thanks so much for sending that in. It's always nice to hear something from around the world. I mean that. It makes me feel like this is getting out there. Whenever I reach people, younger people, or I reach people in other countries, not that because I know that there's an audience of a lot of people my own age, but and around my age. But this is terrific, and thanks so much. Thanks to all of you for listening to my Rantcast. If you have a rant you want to get off your chest, send it in to me at lewisblack.com/live. You can think of it as therapy, or whatever you want to think of it as. Just let it rip. And I want to thank the true stars of our show, the ranters, and the splendid rants they gave us. Lewis Black's Rantcast was created and hosted by me, Lewis Black. It is produced by James Salkind. Our theme song by Chris Lane. Executive producer, Ben Brewer. Executive producers, Matt Kleinschmidt and Robert Kelly for the Laugh Button Podcast. And most of all, thank you, all of you who ranted so well on this show.